Good morning, everybody. I hope people can hear me okay. And I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar. I'm Steph from Simply Rhino, and today our webinar is entitled Rapid Modelling for Jewellers, RhinoGold Elements, Rendering and Export in STL. In this webinar, we'll show you how RhinoGold 5.5 suits both experienced CAD professionals and those new to the area. We'll look to show you how, with RhinoGold Elements on version 5.5, a lack of CAD experience need not hold you back. Our presenter is Pedro. Pedro is the RhinoGold CAD manager at TDM Solutions SLU. Pedro is a graduate of Cindor School of Jewellery in Portugal, and he joins us with over 10 years of professional design experience. The webinar will last approximately 30 minutes and it's being recorded. We'll make recording available soon on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions today, then please type them in and send them over to us. We'll answer these most likely in the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. If we don't get to answer your question, then we'll contact you shortly afterwards. So thank you to Pedro and the team at TDM, and now I'll hand over to Pedro for the presentation. Pedro, over to you, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you, Stephanie, and all the Simply Rhino team. It's a pleasure to have the chance to show RhinoGold 5.5, and we will dedicate this webinar to the elements, the very new feature inside the RhinoGold 5.5. So let me move on. Let's see what we will focus on this webinar. We will see all the elements, the library of predefined models inside RhinoGold. Also, we will see the rendering, and we will use the Render Studio for Arion, which is included in the latest version of RhinoGold. And of course, we will take a look how to export the 3D models to generate STL files for 3D printing. Of course, we will see a little bit about the manufacturing tools, how to generate reports, weights, and I believe this will be really, really useful. So let me talk a little bit about the elements. Let's see what we can find with the elements. So elements, it's a library with thousands of predefined models, and each one of them are editable. So we can start from a predefined model, and the idea is to adjust, to customize the model exactly as we need. And of course, this is it's not required any special CAD skills. So a new user, a beginner, can easily create jewelry with these elements, and we will see how easy it is to do it. Of course, this also provides us the possibility to interact with our customer and directly show to the customer in real time how, and we can define the model he is looking for. So I believe it will be really, really interesting. Also, we will talk about rendering, how to create photorealistic images. In this case, we will use the RhinoGold Render Studio. In this latest version includes Arion render, so we will see how to generate these photorealistic images to marketing, for also for advertising. It can be really, really interesting as well. And of course, we will see also the manufacturing and 3D printing tools. We will see how to export our models in STL file format, the most common file format for 3D printing. Also, we will see how to know the weights from our models to control the costs before the production. we can get all the weights for all the metal alloys, and we will also take a look how to control all these details, and of course the report, when the report allows us to get all the information about our models, so it can be also really useful. Being so, let me move on and let's start. I'm going to open RhinoGold and let's take a look how to use the elements. So this is the RhinoGold interface. As you can see, now we can find the elements icon in here, and the elements, when we click on the elements icon, it will start loading the library. So let's take a quick overview about all these different categories. So each of these categories we can open, for instance, in this case, the solitaire, and we will find several different models, which are all of them ready to be customized. Of course, we can start with any of these models, and before adding, there are a few parameters we can also define before adding any of these models to the document, like the ring size, the material, the mode for the ring, if it is solid, if it is comfort, and of course for the gems, the material and the gem cut. So everything is available to be customized. And in this case, this was the solitaire family. We also have the Signet ring family. In here we can find several Signet rings, so there are a few options, and as always ready to be customized. Also we have the wedding rings family. In here we can find also several options, as you can see. And also we have the eternity ring family. In here we can find several predefined eternity rings. Any of these models I'm at the moment just a quick overview for all the categories, but then I will show how to start creating using this component. So 3-stone rings, also several options. The shanks, we can find in here several shanks. So there are lots of possibilities. We have also bands for shadow bands. That's a few more options. We can find the heads, and in here there are also lots of possibilities. And the bezels, this is very common as well. Can start with these predefined models. The cluster, in here we can find also several options. Halos. So as you can see, there are many possibilities. In the pendants family, there are the pendants, and there are subcategories. For instance, we can find text pendants, and we can easily customize, for instance, the text before adding the model to the document. And also there are the curve pendants. In here we can define pendants based on curves, so any curve we can define pendants. Also, let me move on to the next category, earrings. We have in here also several possibilities. And let's keep moving. The bracelets, we can also start from these bracelets. And the findings, in this case there are several options, and we have the bales as well, so several bales ready to be used. And let me go back, and now in the texts family we can find the text pendant we have seen before, but also we can find text rings. So in here easily we can start with these text rings, and also the letters. So we have different we have different fonts, and inside of each one we can find all the letters. So the next category I want to show is the elements. So in here we can find several components ready to be added to any model. So as you can see, there are many possibilities. And of course, inside we have the symbols inside the elements. So in here we can find a few more possibilities. And it's really easy to start with these predefined models. So there are many options, as you can see. It's a huge library. And finally, the last category is the scenarios. This one it's more for rendering purposes, but of course, as you can see, we have box for jewelry, bust, and so on. So this is all the different families we can find inside the elements. So now let's take a look how to use it. Let's see the workflow and how easy it is. So I'm going to start, for instance, with the shanks family. I just click on the shanks, and in here I will choose any shank. So let me start with a normal shank. For instance, let me choose this one. I just click on the model I want to start. I want this one. I click, and at the moment it will be added to the document. So easily we click on any of these we want to use, it will be added, and from here I can select the shank, I can edit, and I can adjust anything. For instance, the ring size, we can choose any ring size. We can adjust the measures. For instance, in here I want it bigger. I can also adjust the angle. I can change the profile curves. For instance, I want to change this profile to other curves. So easily in the side panel, I just select the curve I want to use. I just need to choose from the library. And as you can see, it's really easy to start with a predefined model and adjust the parameters exactly as we need. There are a few more options. Let's see the gems. We can easily define the number of gems or turn off the gems. Of course, all the measures, all the details, and the prong. So I will start with this, with each shank, and now I'm going to combine other components from the elements. So let's take a look how to do it. So after edit the shank, I just need to click OK to apply the changes, and now I want to create, let's see, I will open again the elements library, and now I will choose, let me add, for instance, the halo. So just click on the halo, and from here I can choose any of these. So let me start, for instance, with this one. And the same, it will be automatically added to the document, so I can adjust the position. In this case, I just select the halo and I move up to the position I want to use. And of course, I will need to adjust a few parameters. So easily I can select the halo, edit the halo, exactly the same workflow. I can move down, I can extrude, and as always, we have all the parameters we need in the side panel. I can adjust the distance for the gem. In this case, I want to reduce the distance. So easily I can do it. From the side panel, I will extrude a little bit more and reduce the distance for the main gem. And easily I can define my model. So as you can see, there isn't any big secret. The idea is to start from the library, and now I just need to adjust the model exactly as I need. So in this case, I define the halo, and now I will click OK to apply the changes. And let's say now I want to adjust a little bit more the connection with the shank, so I can back to the shank and edit again. And now I will, for instance, define the angle in here to fit with the halo. And finally, I can cut the halo, so I leave it a little bit bigger inside, so I can define a curve with the gauge tool just to cut the halo in order to respect the ring size. It will remember the last ring size used, so I just add this curve. In this case, it's a circle, and with this circle, I'm going to use the AutoCAD tool just to cut the halo in order to respect the ring size. So easily I define the components, I combine them, and I create my model using the elements. As you can see, in a few clicks, I can define exactly the model I want. We will take a look into other examples. And now I want also to show how easy it is to create a render, a photorealistic image from our models. So let me open the Render Studio, and I will create a render from this model. So we need to go to the Render tab, and in here I will open the Render Studio tool. So when we open the Render Studio tool, it will open the side panel with all the parameters from the render. So the first step, I need to define the materials, the render materials. In this case, I'm going to start with the gems. So I just need to open the gems folder, and in here we will find all the gems materials available. So for instance, I want to the halo gems. I will select the gems, and now I just double click on the gem, on the material I want to apply. So I apply the material. I will apply the same material for the shank gems. Once again, I just double click to apply the material. And for instance, the main gem, I will use other material, let's say ruby. And for the metal, I'm going to select the halo and the shank. And now I'm going to the metal polish folder, and in here I will apply white gold. So now I have defined all the materials. I have my model ready. So I just need to generate my render. So the next step, I'm going to the Render tab, and in here we have several resolutions available. So I can define any of these resolutions. In this case, I'm going to choose this one, and now I just need to define the position I want to create the render. So I define the position for my model, any position. And after this, I just click on Render. to start calculating the image. There is the option to define a ground. In this case, if we don't define any ground, it will apply white ground by default, as you can see. At the moment is calculating the photorealistic image. We can see the number of passes here in the bottom of the render. There is also the possibility in the side panel to define the number of passes or to use time. So we can easily define in this case the render by time or by passes. If we don't define any of this, we will just need to wait until we believe the image is good enough. So let's say now this is the result I'm looking for. I just need to stop the render, and it will open the image editor. So in here there are a few more options like the brightness, the contrast. We can also add our logo to the image, a few more possibilities, and of course we can save our image, define the file format, JPEG in this case, and I can save the render. So this is the workflow to generate a photorealistic image. Of course, we could apply other materials. We could change the position. For instance, in the front view, I could adjust the position to generate another perspective for the model. So let's go back to the perspective, and in here I could render like this or change the material. For instance, in here I could use, let's use for instance yellow gold, and render again. Let me also show how to add the ground. If I click on add ground option, it will add the ground by default, and of course I will need to apply a material. So we have in here the ground folder. We can easily define, okay, I want black reflective ground, so it will be applied, and once again I just define the resolution, the position, and render. So about rendering, this is the workflow. Also, it's really easy to generate the renderings. And of course, now I want to show a little bit more about elements, show other examples. So let me open a new file. If you have any question, please feel free to use the chat, and it will be a pleasure to answer all your doubts. So let me move on now with the elements. I will open a new file, and let me close the render, and I'm going to start again with the elements. And now let's start with the other components and combine them. So let's start, for instance, with the signet ring. I can choose any of these. So let me choose, for instance, this one. And now we have the signet ring defined, but I want to adjust any parameter. So as always, we just need to select the model, edit, and in here in the side panel we can adjust anything we need. So we can define a new ring size, we can define the 8, for instance. I want a little bit bigger in here, so easily I can define 3 millimeters, for instance. So it's really easy to customize exactly as we need. After this, I just click OK. I have my model, and I can combine with other components. So I can go again to the elements, and in here I will now I will choose one component from the elements family. So I just open the elements family and I will select, let's say, this one. I believe this is a good model. So the fleur-de-lis, I just click to add to the document, and after this I just need to define the new position. In this case I want in the top of the ring, so I can define easily the new position, and as you can see we have the model ready. This is a sample. Of course we can define anything, and remember all the advanced tools are still available, so we can use any of the RhinoGold tools if we want to make more complex operations. Everything still available for the elements component, so it's really easy. Also we have in here, we can find the metal weights tab. This tab allows us to select the models, and we can get the weight for the selected models in all the materials. So after selecting the models, it will calculate the weight for this model in all the alloys. For instance, we have 14 carats gold, we have 18 carats in the different in yellow, in white, so we can know the weight before the production, so we can control the costs from our model. So also of course for manufacturing is usually the most common process. It's 3D printing in jewelry nowadays, and it's all the elements are ready for production, so we can easily combine these elements. For instance, now I want to export this model for 3D printing, so I just need to go to 3D printing tab, and in this case the standard file format will be the STL file format for all the printers in the market. So I will use the STL wizard. I just click on the tool, and the first step is to select the model to print. So I select the model, and after this I will need to define the resolution. So if I want more detail, I would need high resolution, less detail, low resolution. Of course, high resolution, it's a big file size, but of course it depends of the quality of the printer or the level of detail we have in the model. Usually I would say the high resolution is the recommended, and at this moment RhinoGold is calculating our STL, our mesh, and as we did before, we just need to save our STL file. In this case it will be let me call him ring, and I will save in the desktop. So this is the idea. Now we have, in this case, we have the mesh and we have the signet ring. So the signet ring is the original element. Any moment we can edit and change anything we need. And we have the mesh, the generated mesh, which is the file to print. So let me just, in this case, I believe I just need to adjust the normal. So somehow I have the tool to adjust the direction of the mesh, and this is the result. We have our model in the mesh file, which is the file. In this case, I've saved the file in the desktop. So let's see STL file, it's the file we will send to be printed. So this is the idea. Any model we can easily create the STL file ready for 3D printing. So the STL file, it's the file we will send to the printer. And it's really easy. We believe there isn't any big secret. So that's why we believe we don't need any special skills in CAD, in 3D to use the elements. We can easily start with these predefined components to create our own models and generate our jewelry. So from here, it's also another example. I would like also to talk about show a little bit more about the elements and show the report and all this. So let me open again a new file and show a little bit more about the elements. So once again, I just opened the elements, and now I will start with the solitaire, for instance. So I can choose any of these. Let's see which one I want to use. Let's see, for instance, this one. And so I have this solitaire, and based on this one, I want to edit. I want to customize exactly as I want. For instance, this is the model I'm looking for, but instead of this gem cut, I want a normal gem cut. So I select the gem, and I can easily edit the gem. And now I want to change the gem cut. So instead of a radiant gem cut, we can see in the side panel the gem cut, I want to use a brilliant gem cut, a round gem. So when I change the gem cut, you will see that automatically the head will also adapt to the new gem. Of course, it will keep all the parameters, all the measures, but it will adapt to the new gem cut. So also, not only the gem cut, but also the gem size. Instead of, at the moment, we have a gem with a 5.5 diameter. If I want to define a 6mm gem, now again, the head will adapt to the new gem size. So this is the idea. We can easily customize the gems, and all the components are ready to be customized. So after this, just click OK, and it will be exactly the same with the shank. I select the shank. Instead of this shape, if I want to edit, instead of this shape, I can select any of the curves we have available. Of course, there is the possibility to add our own curves. So let's say I want the normal shank. I can choose, for instance, the curve number 13. I just select the curve, and the shank will be automatically adjusted. Then we can adjust all the measures. We have the number of gems, so I can easily define, okay, instead of 6 gems, I want only 4 gems. And automatically we will apply only 4 gems. Also, we have the gems initial distance. We can define the position. And finally, well, the measures for the shank, everything is available. And I just click OK after apply the changes. So it's really easy to start with these predefined models. Of course, I can now adjust the position for the main gem, and there is also one possibility in the elements, which is the band. So let me show you how it is. To create, for instance, a shadow band, we have the band family, and I want to create a shadow band. So I will define, for instance, let me choose any of these. I will choose this one, and you will see that it will automatically try to adapt to the ring in the document. So it will adjust the band to the ring in the document. Of course, as always, we can customize. So we can select the band, we can edit, and we can adjust. Okay, instead of this profile, I want the straight profile, or I want all the measures we have available. We have the gems. So if I don't want the gems in all the band, I can define I just want, let's say, 120 degrees. So we will see that we have the gems only in this area. We also have the possibility to define the shadow band in the front, in the back, or both sides. What else? There are so many possibilities. Let's say I want to adjust. We have the shadow band or the straight band, which will be a straight band. But we can also adjust the how the band will adapt to the solitaire in this case. So we can adjust even better, something like this. So easily everything can be defined. Of course, if we don't want any gems, we just turn off the gems. So all these possibilities are really easy to define. Let me go back to 360 degrees, turn on the gems. I can change to any profile. For instance, this one. And I just click OK, and this is the result. So as you can see, this is really fast. It's really easy to define anything. And let's say now I want to generate the full report of this document. So I want to know the weight for the metals, the number of gems, the size of the gems, the gem cut, everything we have in the document. Under the menu file, we can find the report tool. So this tool allows us to calculate all the objects in the document. So as you can see, in the report, we can define, of course, the name of the project, the name of the customer, the reference for the model, and most important is that we have all the information about the model. So we have in here, for instance, the gems, the material. We know we have 37 gems, the total weight for all these gems, and of course the metal. In this case, we have used 18 karat white gold, and we have the weight for all the metal. Of course, then we can find the gems, all the details. So for instance, we have in this case is the main gem. We have a brilliant with 6 millimeters, a brilliant gem cut. The material, it's a diamond, and the weight for these gems. So the same with for instance, we have 2 gems, brilliant gem cut with 1.3 diameter, and this tab allows us to get all the information, the weight for each gem and the total weight for all the gems in the document. Of course, the same with the metal. In this case, we have the band, the head, and the shank. And we can find also the weight for all the components. In this case, pearls, if we have. Also, we can find the calendar, the time we spent on this model, and of course the tasks. If we want to add the gems, I can define the price. I can define the same for the metal. So we can easily define everything and generate a full report for this model, which can be really, really interesting to have all this information in a few clicks. So this is really interesting. Then of course we can save it and print it. And the idea is to have all the information we need about the model. So I would say that from the elements, it's really easy. There is no big secret. The way to use the elements, I believe, we don't need any special skills. Anybody can use it. It's really easy to create any model based on these predefined models, and this is the idea. Anyone can start creating jewelry quickly and very fast. I believe everything is possible now. So we hope everybody like it. And the I would say that the most interesting feature in RhinoGold 5.5 is this possibility to create jewelry in minutes and with so many possibilities. From here, I would say it's from my side, it's everything. I hope you have. I don't know, Stephanie, if we have some questions from the chat. Let me know if I can help.
Hi, Pedro.
Some. Hello.
Hello. Hi. That was great. Thank you. That's amazing. It's so quick to use. Yeah. Just basically, one question has come in.
Yes.
Just somebody asking about whether there will be ongoing new elements added to the library, to the current library, as it goes on, as you progress with it. Is that something that will be happening?
Yes. Actually, it's also a very interesting functionality in the elements, is that we will keep updating very often all these libraries. So every week or every month we will update the models, so there will be new models very often, and of course there is no need to update the software. Everything is for free. We don't need to install a new version because it will be automatically updated. This is connected to every user's account, so once you are connected to internet, it will automatically update the new models. So the idea is to grow this library even more. So we believe it will be huge in a couple of months. It will be there will be lots of possibilities.
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Okay, I don't think we have any other questions as yet. So I'd just like to say thank you very much to you, Pedro, and to say that the next webinar in this series is going to be on Wednesday, 22nd of July, again at 11 AM UK time. So hopefully we'll see some of you then. I think we're looking, and it's entitled Hello Halo, that one. So we look forward to seeing some people then. And Pedro and I will be back then. So thank you very much to everybody for joining us, and see you all soon. Thanks to you, Pedro.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, everybody.